Welcome to Season 3 of Malevolent Autopsy. I'm your host, Queen. I use she, her pronouns. I am so excited to be here with you all. Now, let me warn you, this show contains some major spoilers for everything in Malevolent as of the day this episode is published. So, if you're not caught up, I'm not liable. Before we get started tonight, I'd like to ask my lovely co-host, what part of Arthur's body are you betting on getting injured this week?
Howdy, hello. My name is Vol Control, he, him pronouns, and this week I think Arthur's new body is getting injured.
Yeah.
Just the whole thing. I was going to say Scar, but then I realized at the last minute that that's what I said last week.
Oh my god. Would you care for giving us a quick recap of this week's chapter?
For sure. And I do want to mention off the top that us patrons did get the... For us patrons, this week's chapter began with Booth John, or whoever he is now, telling us that we got a good grade in Malevolent for our difficult choices these past few weeks, which is rare and something that is normal to want and possible to achieve, but also warned us that we made a mistake a long time ago. So... Great. Then the dollmaker begins the apparently very straightforward process of readying everything for the transfer. Arthur's new body gets a little pick-me-up kickstart of the old organs, and Arthur's old body needs something to slow everything down. It's very safe. The dollmaker says so. With John's reassurance, Arthur gets up on the slab, and as he grows weaker, we hear more of the butcher's tale. He speaks of his father making him drink something sweet and awful from his wineskin, something that made his eyes bleary and put thoughts in his head, thoughts that he would be different, a different boy returning from the hunt. The dollmaker explains that Arthur will need to make one big jump from his old body into his new. John promises a fuck yeah for this one. As Arthur drifts into the planes of his mind, the dollmaker speaks with John and makes but a simple request. Could they have Arthur's old body?
It's no big deal. You're not going to be using it anyway.
Right? I mean, they don't need it. It's fine. I maintain that it's barely even Arthur's body. It's a dark world shell for Arthur and John's souls. So, like,
exactly.
It's not even really a body. It's fine. We don't need to be sentimental about it.
What is a body anyway? I mean,
it's just a bag.
Very nebulous.
It's just a bag.
It's a
just
sack.
A bag. Yeah.
And I mean, we were talking not that long ago about what constitutes as a body in the dark world, because you can get hurt and you can bleed, but we have yet to have Arthur. I don't think we've had Arthur eat or fall asleep yet, have we?
No. I mean, he was lying down in that hole waiting for the butcher for a long time, but I don't know if he was sleeping.
And Malevolent maintains its streak of not having canonical bladders, so we never have to go to the bathroom with Arthur.
Yes. Yeah, that's canon in the Malevolent universe, yes.
Right, like, which everybody knows already, so I don't even know why I need to restate it. But, like, basically, I don't know what a dark world body is, and at this point I'm too afraid to ask. So I'm just going with it, that it's something kind of like a body, but it's not really the same body that was obliterated by Cain up in part 52, The Wager, which lives in my heart forever.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's not a body enough to leave the dark world. So, like, what good is it? Why are we going to drag it around? But we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Well, really quick, I do want to say, Seer of Time says, yeah, this partially confused me because I thought Arthur didn't have a body in the dark world and it was more metaphysical / the impression of a body. There is definitely some shit going on that is along the lines of it. I mean, this is my opinion, clearly. But what I'm saying is, I think there's some shit going on that's like, suspension of disbelief. I don't have all the answers because it's really not important to know all the answers yet.
No.
So, just don't think about it that hard. It's not that important.
The way it works is whatever serves the narrative the best. That's how it works.
Yeah, and I feel that it's a pretty easy thing to just say, the body that you had as a mortal on the mortal plane of existence has been rendered to jam. Yeah. And whatever is here in the dark world is a whole different concept than we're working with on our plane of existence, even though it functions very similarly. So
Yeah, and
that's what
it's
I have to say.
interesting that it can be stabbed, it can be pricked by thorns, and the dollmaker is still interested in it, even though it's like a dark world representation of Arthur's body. So I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So we have a very interesting and unique set of circumstances this week. But before we get
Yes.
into all of them, Vol, what was your treat? What was your carrot for this week?
My carrot for this week, it's a little thing, and I was kind of surprised that it was this little detail in the soundscape, more so than the Dollmaker's lines, because the Dollmaker's lines in this episode were fucking hilarious, and I loved them so much. It endeared the Dollmaker to me even more, which may be on purpose, whatever. But in the throughout the soundscaping of this episode, you can hear the Dollmaker's footsteps panning throughout the scene. If you haven't listened with headphones, you have to listen with headphones because it's so cool. It gives such a sense of space of the workshop. Like it feels like you're really there and you're really like feeling the dollmaker moving around their space. And it's just is so cool.
I'm gonna say soundscaping has been great in all of Malevolent. It is particularly emphasized when people discuss the show how good it is. But I think as time has gone on and we have changed into this non-human, completely original setting, not inspired, not like a Lovecraftian thing that Harlan is reworking, not a different city, not a different time, but an actual different realm of existence that Harlan has created all by himself. I think the more and more original that you get, the better everything about Malevolent has become. And now to be in the dark world kind of for the end of it feels very fitting, because even something as small as the soundscaping has just gotten so much more elevated and fascinating to listen to all by itself. I kind of sometimes wish that I just had a version of Malevolent that didn't have words in it so I could
Yeah, that would
listen
be
to all
so
of the stuff.
interesting. Yeah.
I wonder if
Yeah.
we asked really nicely when Malevolent's over if he would give us some chapters or like parts where he just really liked the soundscaping or something. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think that would be
Yeah,
fun.
can we have the Garfield without Garfield but Malevolent edition?
Garfield without Garfield. Oh my God, that would be great. I
That would
bet
be
I
really
bet he would
cool.
like that too. I think he would be into that.
Yeah, like putting a spotlight on all the effort that he goes into with the soundscaping. Yeah. I have to say I love the soundscaping in season 6 so much, and I kind of miss the like freaky, almost like experimental noise from earlier in the season when we were just like walking around out in the open air. I do kind of miss that like the sort of dark world theme that's not quite a song, but it's still got these like very iconic sounds that
That's
would play.
because I think your idea of really good sound is the concept of putting a pressing machine down on an old pile of Best Buy electronics behind a warehouse. Like you love noise that shouldn't be. And I love that about you.
You're calling me out. You're calling me
I
out in front of
do.
everyone.
In front of
Yes.
everyone.
Yes, I listen to weird experimental noise music.
It's one of my favorite little nerd quirks about you. It makes you like an especially fun nerd.
I'll take it.
What was your stick though?
So my stick, which again is more of a like anticipatory stick because as much as I'm dreading it, I'm also really looking forward to it. But we've talked before about how the last 10 minutes of a part of Malevolent can turn everything on its head. There's almost always some crazy fucking twist at the end that not only like transforms the entire part, but also keeps you hooked and like dying for more. I mean, that's
Yeah.
why I binged Malevolent in literally like 4 days when I first got into it. I just couldn't, the hooks just kept me so invested. And so my stick this week is the unknown factor, which I think I was on pins and needles this whole episode because I was waiting for that unknown factor to happen. And it didn't happen this episode. I was dying. But there's going to be some crazy twist in next week's part. And I'm afraid that something is going to happen to my friend, the doll maker.
Why?
Because I feel like something's going to happen with the damn scar and potentially with Lilith, and I'm worried that it's gonna do something bad to the dollmaker's workshop or to the dollmaker themselves. I mean, considering Tales from the Dark World is a thing now and the dollmaker is the narrator of it, I feel like it's unlikely that something's going to kill the dollmaker, but I'm afraid that either they're going to get injured or they're going to get really pissed off and we're going to lose any favor that we might have had with them.
You are not the first person to say that they're pretty sure the dollmaker is going to be fine because they do Tales of the Dark World, but I think that we have no evidence currently to say this isn't a dollmaker from before they met Arthur, or
Yeah.
maybe this is the dollmaker.
It could be from a different timeline, a different key on the
Exactly.
piano. Yeah.
Right, right. So we
Yeah.
just we just have no idea if that dollmaker is the same entity that we're hearing now. And I
Yes.
wonder if that is going to be brought up or used against us in any way in Malevolent,
Right.
or if that's just going
Right.
to stay a Dark World, like Tales from the Dark World mystery.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's my stick. I don't want anything to happen to my friend the doll maker.
I love that your concern is the well-being of this entity rather than anything about the main characters
No,
or
they'll be fine.
what's
They'll be fine. They'll be fine. They'll be fine. The doll maker said it was safe. That's all I need. Their source,
that's
trust me, bro. I'm good
trust me,
with
bro.
that.
Trust me, bro. I've noticed that in this specific vote, there's so many people talking about how trustworthy the dollmaker is, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about what that vote is in a minute. But like trust and what if whether we trust the dollmaker, this has also been something that gets brought up when we're talking about trusting the manager. Um, Trust is a big issue for a lot of us on many levels, not just
On many
fictional, if you can
levels.
believe that.
Yeah. Our real world issues manifesting through our engagement with a fictional story? Huh.
Giant shock. Some of us
Yeah.
have trust issues. Interestingly enough, I have discovered that the more people say they're suspicious and don't trust a character, the more I want to be like, I trust them more now. I would let them hold my baby.
I love
I
that.
there is no lengths I will not go to talk about how much I trust this person, even though I agree that a healthy dose of reality and skepticism is good, and caution is good, and suspicion is good, especially in the genre that we're in, and especially when we're making decisions that have to interact with people that deserve to have our trust in them weighed. I end up just getting so like unreasonably defiant about
Right.
why are you making me suspicious of them? I don't want that. It's not I don't want to do that. It doesn't matter if you're right. I don't like it.
It doesn't cost anything to be kind and it doesn't
It
cost
doesn't.
anything to
Exactly.
trust people, right?
Exactly. And
Right.
frankly, I think that the difference is the dollmaker hasn't done anything in my eyes that makes them more egregiously suspicious than
Yeah.
like anybody in the dark world.
No, I
There has
totally agree.
been nobody in the dark world that has been like, haha, fucking got you, you idiot. You trusted me and you shouldn't have.
Yeah.
There has not been an
In fact,
occasion of
in fact,
that.
Arthur has been that person.
Yeah, yeah. Arthur has
The-
actively been the bad guy.
So, what was your carrot this week?
My carrot this week was just John's like stupid reassuring laughter and his
Yeah.
little "you'll get a fuck yeah from me" joke. I thought it was so stupid and cute and
Yeah, no,
so
that was.
inappropriately timed. John,
Yep, it
he's
was really
jumping into
funny.
another body, sweetie. I know you don't get it, but like now is not the time. It's so cute. It's like when a kid makes a joke or tries to cheer you up in a really dramatically
in a really dire moment.
Like
Yeah.
the contrast of it is just so bad. And you're like,
Yeah.
okay, dude, that's not even slightly helpful, but I appreciate it
You
because I see
tried.
you're trying. Yeah.
Yeah, you give them a little gold star for trying. Yeah,
Yeah.
John, you earned your little gold star on your worksheet this week.
Yeah, he tried to be a good buddy, and I also appreciated him actually. I felt like he was really listening with and being engaged with what was going on, but he understood the detachment that he has from this. Like, I really don't think I think John has his own journey with his own identity and his own body to deal with, and everything to do with Arthur, he's trying to keep very separate from himself to give Arthur that autonomy.
I really loved John's gentle little "it's okay" when Arthur got up on the
Yeah.
slab. It was very sweet.
Pal, he doesn't remember being on a slab. Only you remember that,
Right.
bud.
Radish in the chat says Arthur better give a fuck yeah when John gets into his Hastur body. Hell yeah. Yes. I like that. What was your stick this week, Queen?
My stick was really hard for me to find because the chapter was so genuinely
Yeah.
distracting and
Yeah.
so honestly good that I was like, it's not the first time I've said it, but it is the first time that I've admitted to it, I think, on the podcast, which is
Yeah.
we're at the point of Malevolent where I would be very upset not to have votes anymore,
Yeah.
but I am also so ridiculously hungry to know what's going to happen next
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
I am at the point where I'm like, okay, and then we vote, and then what, and then what, and then what,
And
and
then
I'm
what
like,
and then what happens?
so
Yeah.
yeah, I'm like so impatient for it to just be done, but also I want it to be going forever. So it's a very weird place to be. But my stick this week was actually the what ifs. I don't usually get
Which what
lost.
ifs?
I don't usually get lost in the what ifs of this podcast because I think those are fun explorations of conversations to
Mm-hmm.
have anywhere else but places that they talk about canon.
Right.
And
But it's not the vote.
I don't usually get them like stuck in my head about, what if we had made a different choice, would this have
Oh,
gone
sure.
better? But this week, I think knowing the way this chapter opens with a mistake you made that long ago has really
Mm-hmm.
stuck with me because
Mm-hmm.
there is no way to tell what mistake that was. And I
Right.
don't think we're ever going to get clarity on what mistake that was because it doesn't, first of all, I guess technically it doesn't matter to like Harlan, who's already written the story and knows what's going to
Right.
happen. But it isn't something that I anticipate having a straightforward answer to. However, it could be as far back as bread versus cheese. It could be as far back as going up or down in the windmill and
It
ignoring
could
the
be as
fact that
far
the owl
back
has
as
babies.
going willingly or versus
Yeah,
not
we
going
have
willingly.
no idea. It could literally just be maybe don't make the mistake of tuning out the fact that you have a daughter while you work on your little commercial jingle in
Damn.
the next room. Like,
Damn.
we
Queen's
just
throwing
don't
huge shade.
we just
Huge
don't know
shade.
what that mistake is. And what I found fascinating is how many people assumed what the mistake was and have been running with that as like, oh, this is the vote that we fucked up on that they're talking about right now. And every time it
You're
is going to be a vote.
surprised? You're surprised that so many people have decided?
I didn't say surprised, I said fascinated
Okay,
because
okay.
people are like determined that they know it's this specific vote, and it is
Mm-hmm.
always whatever vote they were most passionate about, and
Mm-hmm.
that could be in favor of like the option that won or in favor of the option that lost, or they
Right.
could have voted for something that they now regret, and that whole line of thought carries them through. Not only is the mistake have anything to do with a vote, which we have no evidence for.
However, this is the first time that Booth John or whoever has said something like this and been like, you have chosen well, but you have already made a mistake that is now affecting what is happening or what is going to happen in the here and now.
He actually didn't. That is not actually the first time. It is we he has said that when we in regards to the fact that like we made a bunch of really good decisions but we fucked up with the talisman and picking it up. Like
Oh,
he said that a prior choice had been our undoing. Like, why the fuck did we
gotcha.
pick it up?
Gotcha. But we should say that it seems like most of the patrons on the Discord believe that hiding the scar instead of showing it up front with the doll maker was the mistake that Booth John is referring to in the intro to this episode. That's the general consensus.
I also think there is a sect of people who thinks that it was knock versus enter from knocking on the
From the doll
dollmaker's
maker's door. Okay.
door or
Yeah.
entering. I think that it's hard when we're being told we made all the right choices, but I mean, really the message is sent that, like, you did a really good job. It's just that you failed anyway. And it's you fucked up anyway.
Dang.
And it is so telling to me that we have assumed that it is our fault and responsibility and something that we could have done differently, when really he didn't say it was a choice you made long ago. He didn't say it was a vote. He said it was a mistake made long ago. And I think it touched my heart a little bit to see how many people took on the fault and the blame. Like, they really wanted it to be their fault. They were sure it was their fault. And a little part of me was like, that is usually the conclusion that we come to, especially when we are people who have, like, a lot of history with trauma or guilt or different things like that, that we've all come from different places, to just assume that we were the one who fucked it up. And to that, I wanted desperately to tell everybody, like, put my hand on their shoulder and be like, you don't need to take that much blame for it. I know it's just a podcast, but, like, it's really okay. It's not immediate. Not everything is immediately being attributed to something you fucked up with. And so, like, that's what I took out of the soft little scolding we got.
Right.
So let's talk about the vote.
Let's do.
This week, the vote, it's interesting. We had the poll close early. Poll is always only promised to be open for 24 hours. And this was one of the rare times where we only got about 24 hours, maybe a little bit less. It was not a full 48 because it was a very, very easy lead in the beginning. And Harlan pinged us and was like, hey, it's 80-20. Should I just close it early so we can do an early drop for the chapter?
Right.
And one person was like, yeah, do it. And Harlan was like, okay. And then it happened. So it's really funny because you would expect for there to be more fanfare or, like, anything, but this is the charm, and I mean this very earnestly. Everyone's going to tell me, Queen, I hear you cracking, but I mean it. This is the charm of Malevolent. This is, like, the freedom that you get when you're the only person you have to ask permission to. This is the cool shit you can do when you're not bought out by a company or working with a team of 50 people. Yeah. And you don't have a co-host and you don't, like, there's none of that because you get to just do that if you want to do that. And I think Harlan, I mean, it's a 3-day weekend for most people, in America and Canada at least. And I'm sure he has a lot of things he wants to do with his family, and, like, I can get not wanting to wait for us to decide shit. Yeah. That being said, the vote this week was give the body to the dollmaker versus do not give the body to the dollmaker. And when this poll ended, which it already has, it was 343 votes total. Usually that number is about in the 450-ish range now, so not that many people had to miss out. And it was 19% in favor of give the body and 81% in favor of do not give the body.
Yeah, and it started that way, and it pretty much stuck that way the whole time that as the votes were trickling in.
And I think it's worth mentioning that I was in there. I was in the poll mines arguing, and I was like, I'm going to wait until the poll actually drops and come back. And then I stayed and I argued a little more. And then I was like, I have all week. I'm just going to leave and come back later. Lesson to all of you. Like, if you think you have time, you don't. You do
Yeah.
not have time.
Right.
Just do it now.
We all live on Harlan Standard Time when it comes to Malevolent and the polls. Like, nothing is guaranteed.
Yes, yes.
So, what did you vote this week?
I voted not to give the body to the dollmaker.
Mm-hmm. Wait, you voted not to give the body to the dollmaker?
I voted not to give the body to the
You tricked me. You tricked me. I was there in the poll mines with you, trying to help out, trying to stir up discourse because everyone was in agreement. And you traitor. I can't believe this.
So here's the thing. Let me back up. Listen to me.
Yeah, explain yourself.
When the poll first dropped, I posted a temperature check. Listen. I posted a temperature check, and everyone, like almost unanimously, was like, "We're not giving the body to the dollmaker. This is about consent, and this is about like Arthur deserves to have a choice." And they were bringing a lot of different arguments into it that I just thought were poppycock. And
Yes.
I was like, okay, well, here's the thing. I don't want to give the body either, but I'm really fucking pissed that we're not thinking about why we should give the body to the dollmaker. And I outright said in the poll chat, I'm just mad when we don't consider all available options seriously.
Oh, but I really thought you were on the side of giving the body to the dollmaker.
I mean, here's the problem. This is one of the very common issues that come up with polls. I really genuinely did not have a side on this, which is why it was so easy to vote one way and talk the other, because I could see both sides crystal clear and how they could both.
And you saw what a strong lead your actual choice had.
I would have flipped if things had looked like they were going to change, but they didn't. And, like, I totally would have helped give the body pull into a lead if there had been a flip campaign and we had been able to do all of that. But that's why, in particular, this vote closing so early and being such a shocking, sudden death was like, oh. Okay.
Yeah, so because I also saw that the poll was, the arguments were so one-sided, right, when the chapter dropped and when the poll wording dropped, I decided to start arguing for give the body to the dollmaker as a bit. And I was just like saying like overly positive things, like overly optimistic things. But like the more I did that, the more I was like, no, yeah, we should totally give the body to the dollmaker. I mean, my reasoning first and foremost is that I think that it's a dumb idea to drag this body around with us. And I mean, the dollmaker even said, and this might have been part of their quote-unquote manipulation, for those of you who think that the dollmaker is being manipulative, when they said that there was a risk of the body getting damaged or getting attacked or something while they're dragging it through the dark world. Like, that could very well happen. And if we give the body to the dollmaker now, we're essentially, in a way, making sure that it's safe. We have no guarantee. And also just last week, we were arguing against like, oh, you know, it's not safe to drag that body through the dark world. Why were we unwilling to do that with the new body? But now with the old body, we're like, yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It's better with us.
Because, my friend, I said it last time, I'll say it this time. Everyone gets so hung up on the logistics. Everyone thinks the logistics are so important and we can't possibly decapitate the butcher with a scalpel. And then we don't even need to worry about that. It's not our fucking problem. And that's why people are suddenly saying that the body matters. Because before, it didn't help their argument. Now, it helps their argument.
It helps their argument. Yeah. No, I know. But also, another important reason that I am voting to give the body to the dollmaker is because I respect a collector and a creative, and I want to give my friend the dollmaker a nice present. That's my other reason.
That's such an interesting reason.
I know you hate it.
It's just that it's not really a reason. It's just a feeling.
Yeah, it is. I'm sorry. I know that polls don't care about my feelings, but...
Polls don't care about your feelings. Oh my god. Ugh, gross. I mean, I think that it's funny. I actually didn't realize I would be stuck with my choice until I turned on screen share and I realized I was sharing the poll on my screen on Discord.
Oh my
And
god.
like I couldn't, because usually I am always like, oh my God, I can always flip my vote. So I'm just going to vote the way I'm thinking about the most. And then I'll flip it back and forth. I do that a lot. Like when we're going through the polls, I flip my vote a lot. And I know everyone says like, you can never trust that Queen's talking about what she's actually voting for, because I've done this so many times. But
Even to her best friend.
I
So
forgot to
fucked
tell you
up.
about this. This is like
So
the one
fucked
time I
up.
forgot to tell you about it. Because I was so genuinely, I like my reason. Okay, if you're okay, wait. Let's think about this.
Uh-huh.
If
Uh-huh.
you're voting for one side, but you spend all of your time and energy and attention campaigning for the other, to the point where you are flipping people to that side in droves, like
Yeah.
5, 10 people flipping. Does your one vote for the other side truly matter
All I'm
if
hearing are
you've converted
excuses,
10 people?
reasons why you think that I should
I'm
feel betrayed by your talk about trustworthiness. My goodness.
Okay, wait. No, that's different. Listen. I just I see both sides in
Yeah.
every poll and every situation, and it really,
Yeah.
I was talking about this, it really gets my goat. I don't know how else to say it
Mm-hmm.
in a nice way. When everybody, the reason I say, oh, I don't like it when we're all in agreement, I want blood in the poll mines, is because I feel strongly that when something is so obviously the right choice, it's
Uh-huh.
not necessarily because it's not the right choice, but it does show me that there hasn't there isn't enough like discussion around the
Exactly. Yeah.
plausibility of
Yeah.
the other option and what
Yeah,
it could
I
offer.
completely agree. Yeah, when there's a strong lead and it's not something that is fairly obvious, like, John choosing to be entirely his own, like that was a fucking slam dunk, right?
Yeah.
Obviously. But when it's one of these where there should be pros and cons to be weighed for both sides, when there's a strong lead, it makes me really nervous and it makes me think like, okay, what have we not considered? How are we
Yeah.
making a mistake right here?
It really doesn't matter what it is. There are two sides to every story. In fact, there are
Yes, yes,
multiple, more than two, even when two people are involved. There's
yeah,
so many different sides to everything. And I think
yeah,
the human ability to see things from other people's perspectives and from
mm-hmm,
perspectives that are not your own is something that I find so valuable in my day to day, and to learning how to be sympathetic and empathetic to others, and to like really hone the craft of, okay, that guy was an asshole, but maybe from that perspective, things are different and I just don't understand. And that really helps me cope with a lot of the horrible shit that goes on in the world and
yeah.
in my day
Maybe
to day.
maybe that's why the Malevolent fandom is so good and so kind. It's because we have fucking critical thinking skills that we use every week.
Yeah, I mean, I've said it before, polls are the some of the best mental exercises I've ever done in my life, and
Yeah,
I'm gonna need to find a way to stretch my brain after Malevolent is over.
yeah.
But until then, should we listen to some voice messages?
Let's do.
Hello, my name is Radish. I use she, they pronouns, and this is my first submission to Autopsy, but only because I was sick during the butcher killing vote. I'm Team Keep the Body this week. You see, many people have pointed out that it was weird of the dollmaker to ask John if they could have Arthur's body, while Arthur himself was zonked out to the mindscape. That bothered me as well, so I decided to dig a little deeper, and I've concluded that this was a very deliberate choice on their part. It all boils down to how the dollmaker views John. So, what do they know about John? They know he's a voice in Arthur's head that narrates everything he sees. They refer to him as your voice when speaking to Arthur, and tease him for his descriptions, going so far as to interrupt with one of their own before saying, "It must be tiring narrating all you see." And significantly, Arthur has made 2 patron decisions in their presence before this one, and both times, John's only contribution was supporting those choices after Arthur announced them. I think that the Dollmaker sees John as a sort of neutral third party, a spectator to Arthur's life whose only purpose is to narrate. They were surprised to learn John had a body of his own waiting for him, even. That, I think, is why they asked him, and him alone, for permission to take Arthur's old body. They expect John to be more agreeable than Arthur, more likely to flounder when caught off guard and simply go along with their terms. They assume he doesn't have the autonomy to deny them on his own, because up until now he hasn't shown himself to have any. This feels deeply manipulative, especially considering John's larger themes of autonomy and identity. And that is one of the reasons I think we should keep the body. Prove them wrong! Prove that John is entirely his own and has the power to fight back. Additionally, up until now, the Dollmaker has been very upfront about their expectations for us, and have held their side of the deal in return. Their request for the old body is a departure from that. They were excited about the butcher's ears, sure, but they're very excited about Arthur's body. They keep bringing up how fascinating it is, in fact, to a suspicious degree, even joking in front of Arthur that his old body isn't theirs yet. We've fulfilled our end of our original bargain with them, and they're almost done with their side. This is not part of that deal, and they've offered nothing in return for this new favor. Their argument is that the old body will be annoying to bring back with us, which is true, but why did they have to wait for Arthur to get eaten by the mindscape to bring that up? Everything about this rubs me the wrong way, and while I'm not sure of their deeper motivations, if any, I'm inclined to keep my guard up and deny them this favor.
Thank you for your first submission, Radish. You had fascinating points for your side that I did not think about. So thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I honestly didn't think about how the Dollmaker might be approaching this specifically with what they know and think of John. I still don't think that they're being manipulative. I think that it is a little maybe opportunistic to ask, or just odd to ask John now, while Arthur is, as you put it, eaten by the mindscape. Loved that phrase. Very good. Yeah, I think it's really interesting. I really like the way that you picked apart like how the Dollmaker might view John. I thought that was just really interesting.
I particularly like it's almost like a sign of autonomy to say, no, I am gonna just lug this shit back with me. It comes off as
Right.
very typical stubborn John, who's gonna do the thing that he probably shouldn't, that he's gonna bitch and complain
Right.
about the entire way back,
Yeah.
just because he can, because he wanted to be stubborn about it. And Arthur's
Yeah.
like, why the fuck did you? Why did
Yeah.
we have to do this?
Right.
And John's like, I don't know, Arthur. It was
I
just
don't know."
like, you should have seen his face, man.
But I will counterpoint with a point that you made, Queen, in the poll mines, that making
I think Vala's gonna be really hurt about this for a really long time.
making the decision to say no is still making the decision for Arthur.
Yeah.
It's the same as making the decision to say yes.
I stand
Technically.
behind that. I feel very strongly that when people say, "Oh, I'm making this decision," making this decision for Arthur isn't right because it's devaluing his voice in this decision and it's his body.
Right. Yeah.
Saying no is still a choice. It's just the choice you feel better about.
Right.
It's the choice that you can live with in case it goes wrong. Because
Right.
really, that's really all that it is. And unfortunately, we are not, to me, this vote is never ever going to be about making the choice Arthur wants. It's always going to be about making the choice that is, first of all, I mean, John would make either choice or else they wouldn't be options in the poll, but taking out that meta aspect of it, what really guided my thoughts for that argument were like, well, I also am not of the camp that the Dollmaker is being this like manipulative, sneaky person
Yeah.
right now. I just
Yeah.
think it's a different, and maybe that is a
It just
matter of
hadn't
life
come up yet.
perspective.
In the same way that the Dollmaker is like, oh, you and Arthur hadn't talked about it yet. Same thing. Just this was a good opportunity while they're waiting for Arthur to get his shit together in the mindscapes or whatever. They're just having a little chat, and it just came up. Oh, by the way, I'd really like that
BT
body.
dubs.
Would you like to give it to me?
I just think it's
Yeah,
like
it's
watching
just, it's just chatter.
Watching a friend clean their bedroom and then being like, oh, by the way, are you gonna keep that? Do you need that? Like, you're getting rid of it anyway. I'm just gonna
Right.
take it off your hands.
Yeah.
Look, I'm not saying that the doll maker isn't gonna do something down the line that is fucked up, or
Yeah.
that the doll maker's intentions are pure. I just think
No.
that leaping to the conclusion that all of this is inherently an act, like a manipulation intentionally foisted upon John. Like, it can, I guess you could call it manipulative without it being like inherently bad,
Intentionally. Yeah.
because manipulation is not inherently bad. That is just,
Right.
it's a neutral technically.
Yeah.
It just has a really negative connotation. So in
Right.
that case, I disagree that they are doing this to surprise John and Arthur with something terrible.
Yeah. I agree with
It's not a big deal.
that.
Let's do another submission. And this one looks like it's going to be an email. Would you like to read it, or would you like me to read it?
I can read it. Here's the email. Hello, Autopsy. I'm Oro, they, them pronouns, and I'm voting to not give the body to the dollmaker. There are many reasons why I'm voting this way. The dollmaker is trying to scam us. We could still have use for the body if someone ends up stuck in it, but my biggest reason is another. Since the living wake, and in some ways since the start of this season, John has been weighed down by so much guilt. He sounds so sad. Every time he talks lately, I feel the need to offer him a hug. In this moment, he needs to feel like he's capable of good. Betraying Arthur again could very well destroy him. It would kick him all the way back to Intermezzo, all the way back to that do it. But protecting Arthur's autonomy, especially when Arthur is not here to witness it and can't protect himself, would be so valuable. And, if I dare hope, could make him feel good about himself for once. Give him a reason to believe that he can be more than the monster that killed tens of thousands of Arthurs, more than what the body he is about to be pushed back into represents.
Thank you for your submission. It was beautiful.
Yeah, and I could see how that would feel like a reason to not give the body to the dollmaker. But I think that it's one of those perspectives that I don't share, because I don't necessarily see this vote that way. But I totally get why people are saying that, you know, John needs to like respect Arthur in this moment, and that giving his body to the dollmaker without consulting him would be a kind of betrayal. I don't see it that way, but I can understand where you're coming from with that.
Oh, for sure. I definitely understand the perspective. I can even see myself making it in another podcast. But I think that for me, it is a very emotional reading of a vote that is not very emotional to me. And that is, and when I say the vote isn't emotional to me, I really specifically mean for my personal experience, it's not emotional, but I don't disagree that there are emotions that are relevant for people in this vote. So it's just, I do appreciate getting that perspective in here, because this is not something I could have come up with to let other people know. Yeah, there's a whole group of warm fuzzies out there that are want to have these conversations.
Yeah. Well, I front-loaded our voice sub order with keep the body votes because I thought you were on my side, but
I am on your side. I would have switched the vote if I had more time. I have so many. Genuinely, I think this is one of the only votes where on Patreon I really regret selecting this option.
Yeah.
I really would have flipped. I just hadn't even opened the page since first clicking on it. The first day I got it. Like, I woke up, I hit the vote button, I closed it, I went on about my business, and then I was like, oh, I'm going to argue for this other side, and eventually I'll go probably change my vote. Yeah, okay. And then I didn't.
I'm just giving you a hard time. But our next voice submission is on my side. I was going to say our side, but...
It is on our side! I'm so sorry! I didn't mean to!
Everyone, Autumn again, and this week's vote has been weird. Weird in the sense that I thought it would be pretty cut and dry, but apparently I'm in the minority. I wanted to give the dollmaker Arthur's body. It's not like we need it anymore. We literally have an almost identical version. I mean, what are we going to do, lug it back to Yorick? That's literally what we voted against doing last week. I mean, we could chuck it off a cliff or something, but it seems like a bit of a waste considering Dolly would actually make use of it. Not to mention, we've already hidden our Lilith scar from them. If things go south in the body transfer because of it, perhaps promising Arthur's body will mean they're 1, less inclined to murder us for abusing their trust, and 2, will actually help us fix the issue because now they stand to lose Arthur's old body if all doesn't go to plan. People are also talking a lot about how it's not Jon's decision to make, and yes, I do agree with this, but sacrifices must be made for a potentially better outcome. I mean, Jon has already murdered thousands of Arthurs. What's another corpse between two friends? I would even argue that not making a choice isn't a choice in and of itself. If Arthur had wanted to give Dolly his old body back, Jon saying no would still be making a decision for him. So really, considering Arthur's point of view is going to leave us running in circles.
Something that I hadn't considered that Autumn mentions in their message is that the Dollmaker might be less inclined to be hostile towards Arthur and Jon if something goes wrong, and the Dollmaker would be at hand to hopefully fix whatever is wrong because they have already been promised Arthur's body. But that's a lot of ifs.
I mean, that was one of my arguments too in the quote unquote late game of this, 30-hour poll, where I was trying to say, like, we have truly the least idea of what the fuck is gonna happen and how we're gonna defeat Cain and how this is gonna how the rest of this ritual is even gonna go. Like, we just don't know anything about the future of the show after this point, and I cannot imagine that it is a better thing to not have as many people happy with us as possible. And I feel like giving the body to the Dollmaker, at least in the way I view how things are working so far, is that it would be a +1 rather than a +0.
Right. And I completely agree.
That's just where I'm at. I would like to gain a little bonus point. I'm not saying that it's gonna like endear the Dollmaker to us, and the Dollmaker is gonna be like, Arthur, I'm here in your time of need. But like, if they're okay, imagine that they somehow get out of the dark world, they're on Earth again, and the body can now open a portal to the dark world to talk like FaceTime with anybody they can summon from the dark world. And Arthur's like, we need somebody who has, I don't know, an army of body parts that can magically help us in this specific scenario to defeat Cain. Yeah. Maybe the Dollmaker has a stock of shoes, and the key is really to put shoes on Cain or something like that.
Yeah.
Then
I like this
have
prediction
the ability...
for how we defeat Cain. Put some fucking shoes on him.
My point is that I feel like you can never underestimate who's going to become valuable at what point in time, and what you have done for them versus what you could have done for them but chose not to versus what you have done against them sometimes plays into that. And I am not confident in saying that the Dollmaker just isn't going to come up again. I'm confident in saying that they won't play a major role going forward, but I could see it.
So I was thinking, about both sides of this coin here, and I do think that giving the Dollmaker Arthur's body that they are beginning to covet, that they find very interesting, that they have a desire to add to their collection, could earn us some favor with the Dollmaker, like you're saying, the +1. But the monkey's paw that I see here is that there is a potential that we will need to get the body back, or need to have the old body in our possession for some reason. And if we give it to the Dollmaker, then there is an extremely high risk for ending up enemies with them because of trying to take back what we have already given them. They have warned us not to do that. So I still think it was a better idea.
I don't know if you saw it, but I almost, like, in earnest flipped to not giving the body publicly because I was so bewildered as to why do you remember on Autopsy when I was like, why did these people try and come to get their body parts back? Right. Why the fuck do you need them if you're dead, number one, and number two, if you can't, it's the dark world.
You have another body, presumably, because you have to have a body to use to be coming back to get, or I mean, unless you didn't give your whole body. Maybe you just gave, like, a pinky finger or an arm.
But
or
like the point
whatever.
remains, if you even in the real world, if you cut off somebody's finger and you store it in a jar and you preserve it or whatever, why does that person need it back? You can't put it
Right.
back.
Right.
So like why are people trying to come back and get their body parts or whatever from the doll maker unless there is something that you really need that is attached to your body part that you have given up to I mean, I don't know, and I'm saying this because it was the thing that the argument that almost flipped me, because what happened was I was like, why did this whole thing open up with us being shown what happens if we try to go back to get
Right.
things back from the doll maker?
Yeah,
And then
that is a really convincing
why is
argument,
that
yeah.
why is that relevant to Arthur, who wants to escape the dark world and doesn't want anything to do with, like, you know, it's not about surviving it, it's about leaving it. And so it's not like the doll maker has weapons that Arthur needs to go get or whatever.
No.
So my whole thing was, is this supposed to be the moment where we are picking whether or not Arthur is going to try and go back and get his body because
Right.
we need it to leave the dark world?
Yeah.
Or is this like something completely different? And the only reason that I did not completely flip was because I cannot really see why you would need your old body parts to exit the dark world, and the doll maker doesn't know how you leave. Like,
Right.
the fact that the doll maker doesn't have the answer as to what we're trying to do, I really expected the doll maker to be like, oh yeah, people come in here all the time.
Yeah, I know how the Vanguard does that. Yeah.
Yeah, but when the doll maker was like, beats me, I don't fucking know what
Good
you're
luck.
doing. I was like, wait a
Hope your
minute.
chum knows what he's doing.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. So you don't know what we're doing, which means why it clearly isn't going to be relevant to needing this stuff back, because I would assume that all of those other people that are now scarecrows, they also were like trying to escape the dark world, and the doll maker doesn't know that they were trying to escape and need their stuff back? Did not one of them get to talk to the doll maker and be like, this is why I need it back? Like,
Right.
I don't know. It doesn't make sense. There's something I feel like I'm missing.
So many what ifs. Yeah.
I feel like I'm missing something. I feel like
Yeah.
I'm gonna look back on this chapter and I'm gonna be like, damn it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I can't wait to listen back to this episode in a couple of weeks.
I feel like, you know what? I feel like those machines where, this is a throwback, where you would drop a coin in them and they circle for like a minute because they're designed to be like a funnel. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Where it just, I feel like I'm circling the point, but I'm not actually going to touch it because I don't know what it is.
I like that image. I'm just imagining that's all that's going on in your brain right now. It's just
Yeah.
I love it.
Shall we listen to another voice note?
You want to listen to the second part of Autumn's note?
Yes.
The main thing people who want to keep the body are concerned about is what would happen to Lilith, and honestly, I don't blame them, because I think she's key to beating Cain. If we recap what was said in this part, Dolly designed Arthur's new body for 2 consciousnesses. This makes complete sense since they only know about Arthur and John, but if our theory about the Lilith scar is correct, current Arthur harbours 3 souls. During this transferal, people are worried that Lilith would be left behind in Arthur's old body, and the dollmaker would get to keep them. But I would argue it's equally possible that Arthur ends up with Lilith as a second voice in his head rather than John. What happens to John, you may ask? I have no fucking clue, but I refuse to believe he can be taken from us so easily. There's absolutely no way he's getting left in Arthur's old body, and if he does, we're not leaving him behind. I mean, if we look at this narratively, that would be an absolutely batshit insane thing to do, getting rid of the other main character so close to the end of the show. I personally feel like the most likely scenario is that Lilith ends up in Arthur's head and John, having remembered what the dollmaker said about reaching out to your body, would snap back to his own body, and Arthur will have to make his way back to Yorick and John with Lilith. To be fair, I do absolutely see the anxieties about leaving Lilith on the other side, but if we put that on hold for a moment, because it's not guaranteed that it will happen, then giving the body is simply the more practical choice. Though what I say now doesn't really matter, because we got absolutely demolished at an 80-20 split and the poll's closed now. So gonna have a lot of fun listening to the dollmaker split us open on the autopsy table as retribution.
Thank you for your submission, Autumn. You always have such lovely points and great articulation.
Yeah, it was really interesting listening to all of the different arguments about Lilith and how she could come into play in this, and like who's ending up in which body and things like that. There was a lot of people with a lot of really like passionate arguments about John getting left behind in the body, and some people were talking like it was a sure thing, and I just was like, that is a speculation. It's not out of the realm of possibility, but I also wonder if Lilith counts as a third soul. People have been saying that, pointing out that the dollmaker said specifically that this body is, built for two souls, and worrying about what the implications could be if Lilith is part of the equation. And I do think that that's going to come up. I do. But I wonder if Lilith counts as a third soul, because the piece of Lilith that's with us, at least like my interpretation, is that like it's smaller even than a fragment. I mean, John is like, we sort of know now that John is like half of the King in Yellow, so that's a pretty big fragment. But we just picked up like a tiny sliver of Lilith. And so I just don't know if she's gonna crowd things, especially because the dollmaker is there to make sure that the fit is snug. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think that I'm gonna drive people crazy when I say this, so I will only say it once. Lilith is the last thing I'm thinking about right now.
Yeah.
I have like 50 other things that are more interesting and more exciting for me personally to be thinking about.
Yeah.
So like whatever happens with Lilith, I feel like she's baked into the plot in a way
Yeah.
that I didn't even think was possible. And she's so like a sure thing that she'll come up, she'll be relevant, she'll be cool when she's ready to be cool. And her whatever's happening with her, not only is it not my business, but it's also something that Arthur straight up does not know. Like he just has no idea that that is Lilith. I do not think that they've canonically talked about that being Lilith. I do not think that there has been a lot of like
No.
proof that John and Arthur have been present for. And
Yeah.
I think it is a very, very, very strong theory that I'm confident in. I believe people when they say it's Lilith,
Yeah.
that Scar is
Yeah.
Lilith and all that. But I do want to maintain that it is technically still a theory, which also means Arthur and John have no reason to fight for that Scar. They have no reason to care about what's going to happen to it or to be freaked out about Lilith. And therefore, in my opinion, it's not a voter's job to worry about what's going to happen to Lilith if we do
Right.
X with the body, because
Sure. Yeah.
because that would be weird for Harlan to be like, the responsibility for carrying Lilith over is on the voter's shoulders, and if they
But
don't
without
do it,
any context. Yeah.
yeah, but if they don't do it, they're fucked, you know. So I think it'll be okay. At the same time, I do understand that there is like that seed has been planted very firmly for the audience
Right.
over and over again, and we are all very excited to see it come to fruition.
Yes.
So I fully get it.
I will say I am also not Lilith motivated, so
And
sorry.
I think
Sorry,
that,
Lilith stands. Sorry.
and I also think that there is so much that you could extrapolate based on literally the concept I just explained alone about like Malevolent's unique function of a choose your own adventure narrative taught through votes
Mm-hmm.
and a collective versus an individual, and what the voters are supposed to represent in the narrative, if anything at all. How relevant the meta of knowing there are votes to this story even is
Yeah.
at any point. You know, in 50 years, is it going to even matter that there were votes to people? Are people going to care that this was voted on? I mean, they will. They will, or I'm dead.
Yeah.
But my point is, like, a lot of these votes are very, very meaningful to us in a way they
Yeah.
will never be to anybody else. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to keep in mind that like people are not experiencing them with the votes.
Right.
They are completely contextless. Like, and a vast majority of Malevolence listeners are not participants in Malevolent.
Yeah.
And so this is a whole different way of thinking about things.
Absolutely. Yeah. I totally agree.
One other thing I want to say is Arthur and John have actively been avoiding this Scar. They don't
Right.
like, they're not interested in looking at it. They don't
They're
want
not curious about it. Yeah.
No. And so that really motivates me to also be that way, because I'm a very
Okay.
much this is
Okay,
not,
interesting.
I'm
Yeah.
very much a person who's like, if I'm gonna put myself in the character's shoes, I'm
Right,
gonna want to
right.
think like them, and if they're
Yeah.
not worried about it, I'm not worried about it right now.
No, I think that that's actually very wise. I like that. Because I totally agree with you that like when people start theorizing about things that could happen that we have not gotten any context for, there have been maybe hints and ways that you could interpret things that would, lend credence to this theory that you have, but sometimes it's beyond grackling because it's not so ridiculous, but it's also like you have decided in your brain that this is for sure top thing that might happen, and you're basing your vote on that fear or that belief. And you know what?
Don't
That's
go where
fair.
I can't follow.
Right.
I don't there yeah, and that, you know what, we all have a vote like that, and we all have a perspective like that, where we have
Yes.
built something up in our heads and we know that that's how it's going to go, and if you try to explain that to other people, you sound insane. So
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think it's it's very fun to speculate, and
Yes.
it's very important to do that in the polls, because otherwise what would we fucking talk about?
True.
And I'm very glad that people continue to do it.
Yes.
Shall we listen to another voice note?
Let's do.
Hi, Autopsy. Rosesofenvy, her. I've been quite busy these couple of weeks, but I got two things to say. First of all, I'm very glad the majority was to not give Arthur's body to the dollmaker. And second of all, this little turn, there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 notes that happened in this chapter, absolutely gutted me. That's all I gotta say.
Thanks, Rose, for your submission. I don't know why I always get so specifically choked up when I realize that Rose is sitting near a piano.
Aww.
That's so stupid. I don't know why I react like that, but thank you so much, Rose, for your submission.
Well, it's so lovely to get sort of bespoke music being played live as part of a voice submission. It's really lovely, and I'm so happy every time Rose plays something along with her message.
Me too. I would listen to Rose talk about Malevolent while playing Malevolent on piano for 6
Yes.
hours.
Yes.
ASMR loop
Yes.
live.
Absolutely.
Those notes are gonna stick with me for the rest of my life. I'll just say
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Ugh. Okay. Shall we listen to another message?
Let's do.
Hello, it's Spade, and I am very concerned and terrified. I was waiting for the other shoe to drop this entire episode, and it just didn't. I won't really mention the polls because they're already ended, and I'm even more concerned because of the live release on Sunday. Like, isn't a live release very rare or something? Because wasn't the last one, as I remember at least, a capo? I am very concerned, but I am excited. It'll be fun. Yep, definitely. But to talk about the episode, the way the butcher was blooded by his father, like the way he blooded the boy after the hunt, hurts me. More of the, I try to be like the father I never had. More of his last lines. Yep, ow. But for the rest of the episode, the way John was unsure about narrating to Arthur and had to, like, wait for Dollmaker's clarification, and then the Dollmaker's, oh, it's fine, and John's little thank you. He was unsure of his position. But speaking of Dollmaker's lines, one I found rather concerning was when they said defeating the butcher. I can't wait to see what horrors lay within his mind. Does that has some implications, right? Or am I just overthinking this? Like, can the Dollmaker look inside people's memories or mind as long as they have their head? Because if so, I am concerned. I'm not really sure how to end this. Good luck, Eels.
Thank you, Spade. I appreciate your submission and how absolutely terrified you sound. It's really heartwarming.
It's very good. And I'm glad that you brought this up in a voice submission. The Dollmaker's line about seeing what horrors exist in the butcher's mind and worrying about whether the Dollmaker can look inside other people's minds. And I believe we debated about this in the poll minds early on when you brought this up. And my answer is I think that there has to be like a soul has to have died in that body for the dollmaker to be able to like get inside its mind. And so I think that if I mean, it doesn't matter now because we're not giving the dollmaker the body. But my opinion was that if Arthur left that body, that the dollmaker wouldn't be able to read his mind because his mind is in a different body now. But what do I know?
I think it's interesting because to me, it was just maybe this is not thinking enough about it. To me,
Mm-hmm.
it was just a throwaway line to make sure that people know that this is probably a mechanic that's being used for Tales from the Dark World.
Yeah,
I would
yeah.
assume this is like, I mean, to me, it was very much like, oh, look at this finger. That reminds me of the guy that owned it. And then, like, so that's kind of it. Or, like, maybe it's the whole, like, touching a body part gives the dollmaker insight into the person who it belonged to after they've
Could
given up
be.
that body part to
Yeah,
them. Or,
yeah. Could be
I
could
mean,
be
because that
special
is,
dollmaker powers.
yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I assumed it was. And I assumed it was going to be equivalent to, if we had given the dollmaker our body, would that also be giving Arthur's story to the
Right.
dollmaker?
Right,
And
right.
thinking of the dollmaker as a collector of stories and a collector because the dollmaker is like a collector of interesting things is what the dollmaker was
Yeah.
called.
Yeah. Dang, I'm bummed. I'm bummed that the dollmaker doesn't get to keep the body.
I'm wondering if that's gonna have implications for Tales from the Dark World too. If
Yeah,
that
I wonder.
decision has changed something about what story we're gonna be able or not able to hear in that series. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I do think that it's important to mention, just for history's sake, that yes, the Sunday release of chapter
Mm-hmm.
280 has a live countdown, and it will premiere on at 5 o'clock my time, which is 8 o'clock Harlan's time. So that's PST versus EST.
It is very rare that we get a live drop like this in
Yeah,
this
the
way.
chapters don't live drop. To me, that is novel and revolutionary. I will say that maybe they could have been more of a frequent thing had that been a feature on Patreon sooner. But it is a
Yeah.
pretty new feature, all things considered.
Yeah.
It's just that we've never had it like this before. On top of the poll closing early and not for a planned reason, like, oh, Harlan's going on vacation or he's gonna be at
Right.
a wedding or
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, yeah.
And the vote being so heavily skewed in one favor, because honestly, it usually is pretty easily skewed in the first 24 hours. It does not come close to leveling out until 3 or 4 days into a poll. So, I mean, you could argue that had the poll been left up for a little longer, it would have changed.
Could have.
That's a haunting what if for me.
Yeah. No fear, one fear.
One fear. And then you have the first of every month. Have the privilege of getting
Oh,
monthly
yeah, yeah,
releases of
yeah.
a special feature
Yeah.
called Arthur's Journal. So if you're a
Yes.
great old one, you get the poll closing early, the chapter dropping early, and then you immediately get Arthur's Journal the next day. So like it's gonna be a pretty crazy long weekend.
Oh, wait, that's a shamer's perk.
Oh, sorry, it's a Shamer's perk. My bad. Anyway, I think that this
We,
weekend is going to
we've
be
got a
such
hell
great
of a
fun.
lineup. Yeah.
So that will be super fun to pass the time while waiting for our impending
Right. While
demise.
biting our nails and just
Yeah.
anticipating, dreading all of the flavors of waiting.
Yes. And I'm very excited to wait with you all. It's going to be a good time. We're all going to listen to the chapter together. And we're going to hold hands and we're not going to regret this decision, damn it.
Yeah. Yep. 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 No regrets
We
here.
are now, once a vote is locked in, we are a collective and we are
Yes.
committed and we are a team again until the next poll drops.
It is our story.
Our story. Okay, guys, I think we're ready to wind down. What about you, Vol? You ready to close up shop?
Yes, I am. I think we covered everything we could have possibly wanted to or needed to cover.
I agree. I think some really good discussions, really good conversations.
Extra shout out to everyone who submits voice messages, who sends emails, especially new contributors. We are so grateful because it helps us share more people's perspectives and voices, and also it helps us to like branch off into more conversations, and I really love that. And I love hearing from y'all.
Me too. And I think it's a nice break from hearing just the two of us yap back and forth, mostly me. And I think it is it's going to be something that you will be glad that you participated in down the road. I think it will be really fun to look back on this later.
I have so much fun listening back to episodes of Autopsy before they go live. It's really funny to remember our perspectives and what we thought was for sure true or what we suspected. Yeah, it's a fun time.
If you are a public only person who does not get to talk to us and hang out this live, and you've only ever really interacted with like listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever, drop a single tiger emoji in either the Discord public Autopsy channel or the reviews and comments on Spotify and Apple, because guess what? We don't have any of those, and you can do that. In fact, if you guys want to rate the show, that would be great.
We have one comment. I believe we have one comment.
We do have one comment, and it is from Milk.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah. Love you, Milk. All right, guys. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Thank you, of course, to Harlan Guthrie, the sole creator of Malevolent. Without his labor of love for a story he wants to tell, we wouldn't be here. To join the live recording, submit your own message, get in touch with me, and more, visit linktree/Malevolent Autopsy. The official Invictus Discord server is open to the public and includes a channel just for Malevolent Autopsy fans. We also have our own private, patrons-only channel. Finally, thank you to Mizra, Nikki, Vol Control, and everyone who has helped create and maintain Malevolent Autopsy. These friends are also volunteers who donate time and energy to help put together this love letter to Malevolent. The horrors persist.
But so do we.